Let's start with the grip and holding the stick. Break it up into 3 equal parts, then let go with one hand. Now we come into a fighting stance. The stick is going to be pointed at the chin of your opponent. You don't want it pointing straight up, you want to point it slightly in. The left hand is your checking hand, so we're going to have that up and ready for protection. If we have it crossed or the weapon comes out, this hand is still very useful. When you're doing your motions, you might want to add in some fancy movement with the eskrima stick. One of those is called an arco. It's just this simple little motion right here. Works really good with your motions, attacking, so forth. How we do the arco is we're just going to kind of let it drop and holding on with the thumb and the index finger. Let it fall forward and we spin our wrist just a little bit, let it come back into position. We're barely holding on to that stick. It works the exact same way in the other direction. When practicing your angle form, eventually you're going to want to get to contact something. We like to use bob, the body opponent bag. Something else that works good is a heavy bag. Anything that you can actually attack, so you have some resistance when you're doing your strikes. Now, there are different ways of striking. One is just the motion where you follow through. Here. On the body. Another one is where you're snapping that strike out. Following through or snapping the strike. A lot of snapping strikes are used in boxing, like the jab, and then you have the power punch. The same concept, you might snap, and then power strike. When you're doing your strikes, the key is to get as many strikes as possible, so you want fluidity. If I strike one, I want to then flow to another strike. So I'm mixing my strikes up. At the same time, I can keep them the same. Horizontal, horizontal. Twisting my hips and my body, my arm, and my wrist all at the same time to get more speed. If I was just going 1 and 2, I'm not going to be able to strike that fast. So I want fluidity, 1 and 2. Another way to get 2 strikes out of one motion is to strike above the head, follow through, and then strike again. Goes 1, 2. Looks like one strike, but it's actually hitting twice, right there. Even though you're doing weapons training, it's important to realize is that this is not your only weapon. You still have other parts of your body to attack with, and you should use those when you're doing your training. Another thing is, most of what we've been doing is one-handed type training. You want to make sure that you practice in both of those hands. Also, practice with double stick training, where you're grabbing it here. These are forward type strikes, angle type strikes, and thrusting type strikes.
I want to worry about this. The whole time that I moved him around, this thing was stuck. So if it's out there, if it's out here and you're playing around in here, you got to be paying attention to this kind of stuff. I will drop down, I'll use something, I'll turn his head, and I'll make him think about this while I swing it on that, and I'll tighten up on this. And I won't go for this, like this. It's not enough time for me unless I think I have some kind of control over it. And I can get my leg around there. And then I'm not worrying about that. I just have to turn his head, and I can pop this other arm back and get like this. And I'll be nice and easy on you because this doesn't feel good. And try to use my other hands. But I'm not doing any technique without having some kind of control or a way to jump out or go into something else. Like just going into the head. So I'll go in close first, and then I'll only move and switch it when I have another thing to do. So you have his arm just playing around there. Get that control, use your elbow, or staying tight with it, and then switch over with the leg. Let's take it as that. So he's coming in. If I'm doing my block and I'm inside, I'm just going to be getting in this side. I'm not worried about this. I'm just going to get to this side right now. Get away from this body and get into this weapon here. I'm going to close up. He's in. I got this part. He strikes on it, goes in and hits it. I'm over here. I'm getting away. I'm not fighting with him. I'm pulling this close, getting in it. Now watch my arm goes out here because he's swinging that out at me. I'm going to break the arm here or just hold it back. Otherwise, I'm pushing it in and getting my leg in there, getting this tight. Switching over to the back part, keeping his head down, just so I can get this. He's reaching around, he's striking, he's doing things. Just want to get to this, so that I trade off all this stuff with all the things he's thinking about with his arm, his hands, so that I can get my little choke here. And I'll hold this part up. This is what's going to be. Dominic, you should remember, so you start off.
Feel good.
Yeah, that's a little sloppy there. Make it like it's happening. Oh, get that. You got that shield up? Bam, getting close. Check his hand. Use his strike. Use that weapon. Stick is in level 1, guys. Comfortable with that weapon. Block, strike. There we go, like that. Doing. Hit him on the head. Hit him on the head. There we go. We got an arco in there. Strike. Let's get a low sweep kick in there without hitting him on the knee. Low sweep kick. Pop. Yes. We're going to block. We're going to strike. We're going to low sweep kick. Okay, what was that? That was kind of wimpy. Come on, get in there. Low sweep kick is a what? It's like that. Boom. 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 I block. I strike. Bam. Give him a knee. Maybe I got my double grip. And I get him out of there. He runs. He doesn't want to get kicked anymore. That's not the
I never got kicked.
Doesn't want to get kicked anymore. There we go. Block, strike. Too close, too close.
I don't want to kick that. This one.
Yeah, so we're too close. You have a weapon, right? Pop back, boom.
Okay.
Right here. Use that or push yourself back. You feel that? Okay, that's that inside. That's a low sweep kick, right? Block, strike, kick. There we go. Flip block, strike. No too close. Got your hands open. He can hit you on the head.
the kick. Good. Anthony, when you come up, we don't want to come up like this. We want to react to it as if we didn't see it. So it comes down, then we react. Good. Strike. Keep a check on that free weapon. Okay. On that inside leg, that front one. This one here, that's the one you want. Good, knock them into that pole. And they got a good facial expression when they roll up here.
Yeah.
You can get really close with that too. It's a wide angle.
Duck, this one goes straight up here. This is a strike maybe. Strike. Step, up, take him down here. He is leaning against your chest. You just push down. You kneel down. Over. 2. Step, you're up. Take him down, here. Over, and then pull on this one. He slaps you in the neck. Gotcha. That's some more. Yeah. I'm in the bone. Give me a new Bitch. Quick check.
There are a lot of defenses you can do with the stick. We're just going to show you 3, but to give you a basic idea of how to work with the weapon. The first 3 are going to be the first 3 against your angles of attack. 1, 2, and 3 are 3 angles of attack. So we're going to do defenses against those angles of attack. That first strike is a thrust forward. So when he comes thrusting forward, I'm going to cat stance pivot, parry, blocking with my stick, check, and I'm striking that hand. He comes in, 1, 2, and 3, always striking. My cat stance pivot gets me out of the way. Strikes right here. I want to be away from that center line of attack. Comes in right there. The last thing I'm actually doing is actually the blocking and the striking. The block in this system is actually the movement out of the way. As he comes in, moving this out, touching, and striking. Now there's 2 ways to do this block. One is to carry his weapon kind of in the same direction, allowing him to go. 2 is the actually striking into that weapon, like you're throwing a punch, but into the weapon here, and then you'll be striking. So it comes in, hit or punch, and strike. Now let's move on to the horizontal high strikes. What I'm going to do here is what's called a roof block. When he strikes in, I'm going to create half of a roof. If I have 2 sticks, that's my roof. I got my block here, and I have my block here. The concept of a roof is that when he strikes down, or at that angle, is that it comes and it slides off of my weapon, instead of just striking straight in, where it just hits. And there's a lot of vibration. What I want is it comes in, and I want it right here, so that it will slide down. So I'm going to create my roof, and I'm going to step to the side. So when he strikes, I step, my checking hand touches his arm, move it out of the way, and I do the same strike that he's throwing at me. 1. Yeah. This is the number 2 angle. Now he's going to do the number 3 angle, which is on the other side, on this side here. I'm going to do the exact same roof block, but on the other side. I just raise that up, allowing my palm to drive up forward. He comes, I bring it here. This hand, the checking hand, is again touching the hand. I shift out, and there's that strike. I'm doing the same strike that he is doing. He throws it, blocking, striking. He throws it, blocking, striking. Make sure that when you're doing these, he throws the first one, I'm out of the way, I got this block, but if he strikes really hard, I don't want to have it away from my arm, right here, because what will happen is it snaps back to my arm. I'm actually going to lay the stick right across my arm here, so that when he strikes it, I can hit it pretty hard. It's a little harder, right there. So when he strikes, I'm having it right here, and there's my attack. So right across that arm. When you're lying on this arm, make sure that elbow is not forward. When he strikes on this side, if it's on the side, I'm okay, I can protect myself. But if he strikes and I leave it right here, he's actually going to be hitting my arm. So make sure that you bring it to this side. That's why we're stepping inside. Now that you've done some of these defenses with the stick, you can also do a lot of these defenses without the stick. The first one, when he thrusts in, I do the same cat stance pivot, but I put my arm here. I check, and then I strike to his hand or to his face. He comes in, cat stance pivot, grabbing the weapon, striking, striking. Again, he comes in, I want my body out of the way first. This arm, fingers point down, I use the outside of that forearm to do my block. My checking hand is still up. I then switch, bringing the other hand up. If this hand is here and his other hand strikes straight forward, boom, I'm going to get hit. But if I have my checking hand up and he strikes, I have a little bit of protection here. If I switch my hands, I grab the stick here, again, he can punch me. So I want to bring this hand back up so that I have, again, some more protection. Then I'll strike and strike. He comes in, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Doing a bent wrist to the face, hammer fist, anything to really get their attention. Comes in, right there. If your opponent does that number 1 strike to the head, right here, and you don't have a weapon, you have to get in really close. The power, when he strikes, of this weapon is within about the inch or 2 inches of the stick, right up here. That means the closer you get, the less power there's going to be in that stick, wherever it's hitting. So your idea is to get forward. If he swings at me and I move away, what do you think he's going to do next? He's going to keep swinging until he either hits me or I'm in trouble. You can fake him out, though, by he swings and you move away, then he swings again, and then you jump forward. Now, 2 ways of doing this. One, when he swings, is to turn towards my opponent, doing the same kind of motion, using my elbows, my arms, or my hands right in here, getting in deep inside that strike. Another one is to dive in straight forward here with my hands into more of a jamming attack. And yet another one, which is actually a jamming attack, is the same thing, but we're using the other side. If you use the strike, and then I strike with my hand here. If he's on this side, so we can see it. The power of this strike, if he strikes at me and I jam here, is that my elbow actually creates a blocking motion. It stops his arm here. I have to bring this checking hand out to keep from getting hit in the head with the stick. So the strike comes in and I jam right into here. That stops his motion. He strikes in, I can do it this way, here. My left hand is covering, my right hand is jamming, or I can follow his motion when he comes in and go here. If he's really swinging wild, I can just throw him by using his own momentum. Here. Make sure that you practice all of your self-defense techniques with the weapons, with your sticks, and empty hand without them.
Okay, we're working a basic stick. We have a stick here. First thing we want to think about, and when we're learning the stick in self-defense, and that's what we're working on, not so much the basics, is really just protecting that head. Protecting my head here. So I have my hand up here, and I have my hand up here. So I have one way of protecting the head is just the front, or a straight down type attack, so it's coming straight down my head. I have something like this, very basic, but I can risk my hands here. Next I have this side, and I have this side. So we're going to work on just real 3 basic angles. So the first one is he comes in right here to the side. I'm just going to have this on this side, and I have my checking hand here. Second one, he's coming on this side. I'm going to have my block here and my checking hand here. And then I can have the straight on top, which I can do this way. I can do this way, or I can even do this way, which is dangerous, but good if you have a slow person or a very obvious attack and he's coming your head, or he comes in, boom, and I get in close.
it's much safer for me when he comes in on my head if I can get into here, or I can get under this arm. If he swings down really hard, he can injure his arm right here. So I'm going to go on this side by creating sort of a little wall. And all I'm going to do is I start off right here, and I lift my arm up, and I bring it here, and I let go, and I have this wall right here. And if it's coming at an angle, I can have it at an angle too. And I'm moving forward because I don't want to just rely on this. So I'm down here, and I'm moving in because I can do this if he comes in without my weapon too. So I have this here, and I'm getting in as close as possible. Now when you swing, you want to do that. A lot more power out of that swing here. Boom. And you turn it. Yeah. So I got to be careful. He's actually swinging at me. So I got one here. Boom, and then I would strike there. I'm doing the same move that he's doing after I block and I strike. So I make it a one motion like this. So it comes in, block, and I strike. Comes in, block, and I strike. I can also, when he comes in, I can jam it with the same kind of block here as well, and I can attack this way. So I come in here, and I can attack through. Mainly, I'm really focusing on protecting this head, this side, or this side. If you notice that when I'm on this way, I just take the stick and I flip it to this side. Now, I'll switch sides here to show this. Two ways of blocking on this side. One is just right here, and you can see there's some space between my elbow and the stick. So when coming around here, I have it right there. He swings at my head, I have it right here. And I have the space. The second is I can rest it on my arm, and he comes, and I can use it here. And he swings down, boom, right here. Have a little bit of protection by resting this here. Now, the difference between these is that when I do this, I can really close up, and I can have this here, so it's not hitting me. But I can't see a lot because I'm kind of hiding down here. I'm creating a shell, and I'm hiding. So if he was to be hitting and then he's hitting again, I can kind of have this, and then maybe I can sneak out. Whereas if he comes and I go here, boom, I can have a lot of space to see. So it's coming in, boom, I have it, I can see what's going on. So I'm open here. So I can have one where it's close, and I can have one where it's a little open. And remember, my hand, my free hand, is always checking here, because he might strike, and I can still do this movement. So I'm always assuming I would do my defense as if I didn't have a weapon. But if I have it, again, a weapon is what? An extension of the hand. So I'm doing the same moves I would do with or without the stick. So it comes in from here, and I'm coming through, just like that. So again, on the other side, I have one, and I come through, and he comes on this side, and I have two, and I come through. Okay, let's work on that. You can stop and start over.
Go.
When we're working on this block, we've got two different types of blocks. We've got something that's like a roof, which is a little bit of a distance from this arm. The next one, we're going to call it a wing block. It shapes that wing, and the stick just rests on top of my arm. So we've got one which here and one which right there. Now, if my opponent swings at me, each one has a benefit. So if I'm blocking here, there's one, and he comes in, I got this tight one here. If I use my roof block, I have a little bit more distance. So when he comes in and I'm here, I have a little more space to move. So we go slow, and I'm right there. I can kind of stop it, and my arm creates a brace right here. So I'm stopping that attack. When he comes in, I'm bracing it here. The power might still come through, so he's still swinging more at my head. The power might still come through. The stick might break. But what's happening, comes in, is that if this drops down, I'm only going to here, okay? But I have a lot more space here. Now if he comes in and I do the wing block, right here, hitting the shoulder, I have a little bit less space to move, but I have this protection with this stick. And I can create a bigger window by going up higher. Meaning that if I put this here, look how short of a window that is, not much, as opposed to here I have a little bit more. But he's a lot closer to me when I do that, because I'm in tight, and I also obstruct my vision a little bit. When he swings at me, I'm right there for my strike. But if I go in with my roof, I got the advantage of having a little more space with it here. I'm coming in pushing it like I'm punching this stick. So it comes in like I'm punching the stick here. So even though I have this stick that can move, I have a lot of space here, so I can almost jam it. And even if I wanted to do a double block. So when you're doing your blocks, you've got one like this. This arm creates a brace. And you've got one where you're using it more like a shield. Like maybe the guy's going like 5 times on me. And I gotta be inside here. I gotta really just close up, and I'm just lucky to get anything that I can to protect myself. But if I want a little more space, and maybe I see it from a distance and he comes in, I see it coming, I can get this out there, boom, I got this stick. And now we've got a... All right. If you want to push, get a double grip. Actually really do it. Don't fake your guys' pushes. Really push him with that stick. Nice. There's that kick. We're practicing low sweep kick. Nice block. Good kick. Only you're still kind of front. Maybe a double grip to block, but otherwise, nice kick because he's not thinking about that yet. Good. A lot better. Gotta go for that front leg, that knee's right there. It's a perfect position to get kicked. A little more kick, not a little less touch. You can kick from way back here as long as you're throwing a real kick.
You're kicking with the euro, you're going to kick on the opponent.
Their front leg. Yeah. Good. Okay, break it up. Take one stick. Hold the arm. Good.